Today we start ushering in the empowering theme for, what, August, which is unity, but it's actually peace and unity. So there are themes, but actually that's almost one and the same, but we'll call it peace and unity. And today I'm going to start with a story, and the reason I'm going to do that because it'll open the door and the window to our awareness of exactly what we're talking about. And that awareness will be that peace and unity is with us always. We don't have to seek for it. It's there. It's part of our nature. And then all we have to do, or should do, is to open up our authentic self in the moment and allow it to shine forth in our lives. Isn't that something? That's a very big time statement. Because when we're confronted with the ongoing, and today I'm going to call it the hurricane of events that happen to us day and night in this world of form, that all we need to do when we're confronted with anything, we just need to open ourselves up as who and what we are. And I need to turn on, I know I did that last time, didn't I? I need to turn this thing on. Anyway, Robert Schuller, Reverend Robert Schuller, how many of you know, now what am I doing?
Put the other one down. Put the
Put
other
this
one
down.
There you go. Thank you.
All my life I've been with assertive women. I stutter when I go to talk. Anyway, Robert Schuller told a story, an incident that happened in his life, which just kind of points out and illustrates what I just said, that peace and unity is always with us. We're the ones that have to bring it forth through our own consciousness. Well, anyway, he was asked to attend a board of directors meeting of this group. He was kind of a consultant, and you know, he's a very religious person. They thought, if we had Robert Schuller there, maybe it won't be so negative. So he's sitting there in the board meeting, and these people, there were 6 really angry, negative board members who didn't agree on anything, and in fact, they didn't even like each other. So he's sitting there, and all of a sudden he found himself being drawn into that negative energy. And so all of a sudden he became cold and irritated and unforgiving. I mean, he became part of that energy flow. And all of a sudden somebody else walks in, another board member, and everything changes. The whole atmosphere changed. The negativism left. Disintegrated. And people started smiling with each other and talking with each other and having loving conversations. And this man, when he walked in, he radiated love. And he radiated in his eyes. His whole demeanor was one of love and understanding. Afterwards, Reverend Robert Schuller went to him and he said, "Tell me what you did to change the dynamics of this. They were so negative." He said, "Well, when I got the board agenda, I realized that it was going to be a tough one. It's going to be very negative when I read all the items on the agenda. So what I did, I decided to do this. I decided before the meeting that I would go within and accept who I really am. So I accepted in my own consciousness that I am a divine love expression of God. That's who I am. And that every member in that meeting is also a life form of God and has that loving energy. And that they respond, I put in mind that they respond to my smiles with smiles and my gratitude and my good." And he said, "That's all I did." Kind of interesting, isn't it? So this month, as we do this, we're going to find out that this idea of unity is with us all the time. And it can't leave us because that's who we are, that's our nature. And as we learn this idea that unity and peace is with us forever, then we come to a very good understanding that all this hurricane of activity that we're in, that tries to take dominion over our emotions, I don't care what it is. We're in that situation now where we're experiencing a new election. So the diatribe that's going on now. And then the social stuff that's going on now. All these activities that tend to want to take control of our emotions. We come to the realization, once we find out and accept that we are a divine creature, we find out that it's all an illusion. All of it's illusion. And you'll say, well, Angela, wait a minute, I listen to these politics. How could it be an illusion? I can see them on the television set. It's an illusion. Anything that's changing, that's not permanent, is an illusion. And what's the illusion? The illusion is that it has control over our emotions. So all of this idea of unity, it's a personal thing. It's an inner acceptance of who and what we are. And there's a statement, I kind of modified a little bit, made it a Pizelo Aug statement, that in the eastern quarters. And what it says is that, well, it doesn't say this entirely, I added to it, but what I said that it said. That pain in an ever-changing world of form is a given. We'll experience it. However, suffering is our choice. And so what we say to this is that we need to go within and we accept that which we are, which is that power and that presence, and what we do, we call it forth. And I like the statement, God waits for us to wait for God. And we find out in this light of truth that we are all little bundles of energy, of electricity. Do you accept that? I'm a bundle of electricity. I don't know if you feel it yet, but you will. That we're all bundles of electricity, and we emit energy. We do this. We emit energy because we're always in a constant dialogue with the universe itself. But we emit energy that relates to how we feel about whatever is happening in our life. And what's kind of interesting about all this, and it's kind of mysterious, that this energy that we put out, does this community need the unity and oneness and the peace that PLC offers? Absolutely. Because we're changing things. And I haven't seen that go on for a long time now. Many people, and I put this down, it's kind of interesting, and I think maybe it's a slang, but many people live in the consciousness of a swamp. I mean, I thought about it, my God, people are living in the consciousness of a swamp. That we're always surrounded by all these problems, the alligators. And we have no control over it. We have absolute control over it. We need to come up with the idea of who and what we are, first of all. A lot of people will talk to me after I give a talk or after we have a class. Okay, Angela, it all sounds well and good. I mean, you know, how can we consistently stay in the consciousness of oneness when I'm bombarded with all this stuff? Or I lose my job, or I do this and I do that. How do I stay in that consciousness? And so, what's the answer to all that? The answer to all of it has to do with, we need to take a look at, number one, how this divine energy functions with people who may not even have any idea about it. They've never studied the books. But what happens is that in this moment of crisis, it's like a laser beam. They put aside their own wealth and well-being. They put aside their own physical environment, and they reach out to do something special. There are so many miracles. Last week, on the news, talked about a lady in Virginia whose father was working underneath his car, and he got trapped under his car. And without a thought in mind. Talk about transformation. I'll tell you, it's like a laser beam. When her focus was not on poor me, or what's going to happen to me, or the limitations. No, her focus was like a laser beam in a crisis. Save my dad. She ran to the car and lifted the damn thing, the darn thing. She ran to the car and lifted the thing up. It was on the news. Now, isn't it in a newspaper? Absolutely not. But she lifted the car up. What's that all about? When we get to that place where we're feeling sorry for ourselves and we have no control, think about this lady. Think about how she called into operation the sleeping giant within, which is who she is, the I Am, which is not under the domain of the physical, but which has unlimited resources. I like to say, the CEO of the universe. And my gosh.